the number of people getting their drinks spiked has risen dramatically over the last few years, with a spiking incident being reported to the police every hour in 2022.
Well, the number of spiking reports has gone up dramatically from 1,700 in 2018 to more than 8,500 last year. That's a staggering five-fold increase.
But in that time, only 1% of cases between those years has led to a criminal charge. So these alarming figures come from a new documentary highlighting the issue and sees presenter Daisy Maskell allowing herself to be spiked under medical supervision. Well, Daisy joins us now along with Havva Ramadan. Good to see both of you, who also took part in the documentary, to talk about your experience, didn't you, of being spiked. Daisy, if we come to you first of all, just to deal with what I'm worried some people might have as an alarm bell going off, which is because you actively participated in this and you've come out the other side with no damage, will it be seen as a sort of encouragement, misinterpreted that, well, she's done it and she's fine, so it's not that bad? Just address that first of all.
For sure. I think it's important to remember and to note that this was a controlled experiment.
Right.
I had countless medicals, and that is an opportunity that victims miss out on. I think the most dangerous thing about spiking is we're administering drugs to someone else and you don't know the effects that that drug is going to have on someone's body. You don't know the dosage either. This was under... The medicals that I had to go through for this were very, very intense.
Well, just describe to us exactly how it felt and how soon after you drank the spiked drink you began to feel different.
I think that was what was most shocking to me. I didn't know which drink was going to have the drug, the spike in it. I was served 3 drinks over the course of the evening, and within 2 or 3 minutes after the 3rd drink that I consumed, it started to take over.
And that drink didn't taste funny?
It didn't taste at all different from any other drink that I'd consumed in the past or on that evening. There was no difference in taste, there was no difference in colour either. So if I was on a night out, I would have no idea that there was anything in that.
So what were those first symptoms after 2 or 3 minutes?
I think you said, Havva, didn't you? The first symptom you noticed was my face completely drained of colour.
Wow.
And then my jaw started to lock, and then my speech started to slur.
God.
And I think a few minutes after that, that's when my coordination went.
The strange thing is, though, of course, in that footage, it just looks like you're the worse for wear.
It does.
Which is what often happens to victims, isn't it?
Yeah. I was saying that going into this, I had this sort of preconceived idea of what a spiking victim looked like, and I thought it was someone that was slumped over and that was unable to move or speak. And you can see I'm answering questions on camera, I'm moving, I am speaking too. And I looked back at the footage the following morning, and the thing that I found so eerie was, if I saw that same woman on a night out, I wouldn't necessarily realise that she was in the danger that she was in, and I don't know if I would have advocated for her.
Let's talk about that danger. So let's just, for the sake of this discussion, assume that the spiked drink you drank actually happened in a real nightclub, and it wasn't under control. So you were actually, if you like, attacked. Explain how and why that would make you more vulnerable, which it clearly would, but can you just describe that?
I mean, I've never felt as out of control of my body as I did on that night. I was in certainly no position to consent. I would have gone along with anything. I was very, very malleable. My assessment of risk was completely lowered, but equally...
So hang on. So if say the guy who'd spiked your drink had said to you once you were under the influence, "Come to my car, let me take you home," you would have gone.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Havva, what was your experience? Because you, unfortunately, had an experience that wasn't in a controlled environment.
It was.
Tell us what happened with you.
So with me, I did actually taste it in my drink. And
Did you?
I did, yeah. So I went to the loos, I came back, and this was around people that I knew.
What did you taste, just so that people can be alert? Was it just something different and weird?
It tasted like the drink was too strong.
Right.
So I kind of just went, oh, that's too strong, and put it down.
You didn't think this has been spiked?
No.
You just thought...
Not at all. Not at all.
That's interesting.
So, and I think that was my saving grace. I think that's why I didn't fall unconscious.
Because you stopped immediately.
Yeah, I stopped.
So what were the symptoms for you then, having had just one swallow?
Yeah, after about half an hour, I went to another bar and I was sitting speaking with another person and the room just span. And I just looked at her and I said, "I'm really sorry, there's something wrong with me. I just need to go outside." As I went outside, I started to lose control of all my motor neurons. And then I started to slur. I started to not be able to move my hands. I couldn't move my feet. I just couldn't. My brain, like, in my head, I was like, if you fall unconscious, I kind of knew what was going on. So my mind caught it before my body stopped reacting. And I just was thinking, if you close your eyes, you're finished.
God.
So I just was trying to stay awake. But I just couldn't. I lost control of the way that I was speaking. I lost control of being able to walk. And
like Daisy, did you feel malleable? Did you feel that if someone had made a suggestion to you that had you not been spiked, you would have said no to, you would have actually said OK and gone along with it?
In my case, no.
Right.
I was angry and I'd caught it. I mentally caught it, but I think that was just because I didn't finish the drink.
But also, I suppose you might have mentally been aware, but physically you were vulnerable.
Yeah.
You couldn't have defended yourself.
No. If I was in a position, which luckily for me, I wasn't in that kind of position, but that's unfortunate for many, I wouldn't have been able to defend myself. I remember somebody passed me a bottle of water and I just kept trying to get my hand. I'm looking at the water, I'm looking at my hand. I'm trying to get my hand to the water and I couldn't. I just couldn't do it.
Now, the guys who do this need to do some serious jail time. I mean, there's no argument about that. But it's very hard to prosecute, isn't it? I mean, it is possible, but there's no clear single law, is there, a spiking law?
There's no specific law for spiking, and I think this is what people are really campaigning for at the moment, is to create a law that is specific to spiking, to act as a deterrent too. It is that the charge rates are so low, and there isn't a sense of people wanting to report either because there's such a stigma around spiking victims, that spiking victims feel.
Can you explain that then? Why would there be stigma about being... It's not your fault?
Yeah. I think a lot of people feel as though they're not going to be believed.
Right.
It's very difficult to collect evidence. The testing kits that we have available and the way that we test spiking victims post an attack, there's a very small window between the time that you've been spiked and the time that you should be taking the test.
In some cases it's 12 hours, and in that 12 hours you could still be recovering from the spiking and trying to piece what's even together.
Yeah.
Why is it not covered by the law? Because there are laws that could cover it. To have a conviction rate of less than 1%, it does seem strange. What have you found to answer that?
I just don't think that it's much of a priority. I think even though the statistics are so high and they've gone up 5-fold in the past 5 years, I don't think it's a policing priority really either. And I know that was sort of your experience too, have a post-spiking with...
What happened when you reported it?
Feel justice.
I didn't report it. I spoke to a police officer and she advised me not to.
Why?
She said they wouldn't take me seriously. They wouldn't do anything, and because nothing actually happened to me, it would kind of be like, well, you're okay, so don't worry about it.
Get over it.
And go home. That's it. So I'm not going to... When you experience a trauma like that, you kind of just want it to go away. You want to feel safe as fast as possible. So me going into an environment where people are not going to take me seriously and ask me questions that are going to upset me, I didn't feel safe to do that.
Which I suppose then means that people are getting away with it.
Of course.
They are.
Of course.
Well, very quickly, how do you defend yourself, protect yourself against it? What tips would you give young women?
I think there's so much guidance online, and we are told that we have to take responsibility. Really, I think the emphasis should be on the perpetrators and should be making a change. Obviously, we all know as women to watch out for our drinks, to not accept a drink from someone we don't know. But really, I think there needs to be an active effort to change the stigma and to really find out why perpetrators are doing this.
The Home Office has told Good Morning Britain that spiking is an abhorrent act. In their view, it's already illegal. Anyone who commits the crime faces up to 10 years behind bars. They've also said they've invested...
How many years? 10?
10, yeah.
Good.
They've also said they've invested... That's if they're charged and, They've also said they've invested £25 million to make our streets safer, including initiatives to track or drink spiking campaigns to raise awareness and training for bar staff. Is that enough in your view?
I don't think so. I don't think so at all.
You want a change in the law?
I do. I think to act as a deterrent, I really do.
OK, well, look, if you have been affected by any of the issues we've been discussing, and as, they've been saying, it is more and more common, then you can find advice and support at itv.com/helplines.
Well, I'm glad you're OK.
Indeed.
And listen,
very much.
Thank you for doing it, because it's a really important discussion, and, it was quite a thing for you to take on.
Thank you for having
And you can still see your documentary online, can't you?
You can. It's streaming now on Channel 4.
It's streaming now. OK.
All right, thank you both.